Let's go next to Joe from New Hampshire. Joe from New Hampshire, welcome to the program.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. I have kind of a two-parter for you.
Sure.
Uh, I'm living on a college campus right now, and I would say it goes without saying that most people around here are more political than the average population.
Sure.
But even then, I meet probably the majority of people I meet would consider themselves apolitical. They don't like to touch politics.
Interesting.
And I'm noticing a lot of people I meet, just in general, seem to think that like being apolitical is some kind of virtue.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
how
it's
how
similar
do
to enlightened centrism. There are people who believe that
yeah
because they're in the middle and they're like, well, listen, one side wants to kill trans people and the other wants them to be able to use whatever bathroom they want. I'm in the middle. It's like you're in the middle of one position that's crazy, dude. So I think the enlightened centrism is similar in a way.
right,
But
and that's
also,
kind of what a
now
yeah,
let me say one thing here, Joe, before you move on.
go for it.
I don't think that political apathy is a good thing, because political apathy carried to its full conclusion allows small groups of extremists to basically decide how our entire political system works. So I think knowing what's going on and voting, very, very important. At the
Yeah,
risk
no, for
of
sure.
turning people off from my own program, I do think there are some people who are too sucked in to political issues and events and news that will never affect them and that they will never affect. And there are people who have written about this. It's not nihilism, but it's sort of understanding, okay, what am I going to do about what's going on in Ukraine or the South China Sea or blah, 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 blah. And I've seen for some people, it becomes unhealthy where they're so sucked into news and politics. They're just upset. They're not doing, and on a lot of things, they can't do anything about it other than I might occasionally donate to a cause or vote or whatever the case may be. And so I do think it's important. And I do this myself. I think shows like mine, if you imagine like a pyramid, instead of a food pyramid, it's like a information pyramid. I should be at the top of the pyramid, sort of like the junk food. You're using this to fill in your understanding of news and events, built on an understanding of history and other areas, built on a foundation of critical thinking and epistemology. And there are some people who are just constantly consuming opinion. And I don't think that that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree. I think my main concern is that there's a lot of people who, for instance, in my state, New Hampshire, we elected two Democratic senators, but we reelected the anti-abortion Republican governor.
Yes.
And I was talking with some people after I personally voted, and they were talking about who they voted for, and they're like, yeah, I'm not too political, so, but I still like abortion, so I voted for the two Democratic senators and Chris Sununu because they thought Chris Sununu was pro-abortion,
Right.
and they just like were not critical of who they were voting for.
Yes. No, that's a real problem. And I also know people who are like, yeah, I'm not really political, but I'm kind of more of a Republican. So I don't get very involved or pay attention, but I just vote for Republicans. But I'm not really very political. And then I talk to the person and all of their views actually really align more with the Democratic Party. So
Yeah.
sometimes that apathy is actually more destructive than people who are involved.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah. Well, Joe, I
Anyway, yeah,
appreciate you bringing up the issue. It's an important one.
yeah. Thanks for taking my call.
All right. There's Joe from New Hampshire. Great to hear from.